Hey everyone, welcome to episode 4 of Evocative Gamers. Today we're going to be talking about not only the future, but reflecting on the future by looking at the past of gaming. Specifically, we're going to try to answer the question, is reality a simulation? Or can reality be simulated? We're going to get into it today. So make sure you subscribe, make sure you drop a like, and let's jump into it. Hey Danny.
What's up, Alex?
So I was watching last week when we met up. Remember, I was like halfway through that interview with Tim Sweeney from Fortnite,
Mm.
and it was a very interesting second half. One that I wanted to talk about a few things because I don't know if I'm scared or optimistic or excited or all of it just put into one. But the future is going to be an interesting future. And I don't know how much time you spend thinking about the future, but I spend more time than I should thinking about the future.
What are you scared of?
I don't know. The biggest fear that I have is not knowing what's real
Hmm.
because we will enter a time where simulation or simulated items are going to feel and look like the real world, right? And the best example of this is my son plays a lot of Roblox, right? Now, there is no way you confuse Roblox for reality,
No, blocky.
right? No, but last week I'm also watching the new GTA 6 trailer drop, and my son walks in and he does like a double take by past the door.
He's like, "What am I watching? What are you watching, Chateau
He,
Mom?"
no, well, he's like, "What are you watching?" And then he comes in and I'm like, "Oh, it's a new GTA 6 trailer." And he's like, "Trailer? That looks like a movie. That looks real." I'm like, "No, it's the trailer to the game." And then he's like, "That doesn't look like Roblox." And I'm like, "Yeah, life's a little bit less boxy sometimes." But the point still is games like, Fortnite to a certain degree. Fortnite I think still too cartoony, but the power behind Unreal Engine unlocks things like what you can see with GTA 6, although I don't think GTA uses Unreal Engine at all.
With their own engine.
Yeah. But still, hyper realism is upon us, right?
Yeah. Have you ever seen the body cam video game
Yeah.
where it looks real, but it has
Yeah.
like a filter, but it looks like like you're a policeman chasing somebody?
Yeah, I seen that.
That's how real it looks, man.
But that's why I'm scared though, right? Because where at what point do you get to the point where you can't trust anything you see anymore?
I think that's now. Have you heard about the principal that got in trouble with the some student made an AI recording, audio recording of him like talking about a girl in the school. So they did an investigation, but it was all AI.
Yeah,
And
I've
yeah,
heard of those things, and interestingly, and it's very interesting you bring that up because I've actually spoken to the FBI about this.
oh, interesting.
Not because I got into any trouble, but I
That's
was
are you
I was
real?
yeah, no, I was on site. I was on site at my where I used to work, and they had like a cybersecurity day, and so they brought the FBI, the local FBI from West Palm Beach, Florida, over, and they were talking about threat actors and all this cybersecurity stuff, and I asked a very interesting question and this was back when deep fakes was like a trending topic, right?
Yeah, yeah.
And I asked him a very interesting question of like, I have said every word in the English language with my voice through all the content that I create online. I'm like, what's stopping you from just barging in through my front door to arrest me for something that I didn't do? And their answer was, well, we're gonna do our research. I'm like, right. Right. You're
He
gonna
has
do
our
your
answer.
research. Well, but it's a bunch of crap because what do you do when your research is gonna turn up like there is no DNA that AI leaves behind that says I'm fake.
Yeah, there should be a footprint. There should be like when something's created in AI, they should have like a dot GIF at the end
Yeah,
of it.
like no, like our products, right? Hecho in Mexico,
Yeah,
made in China, like made by AI. It needs to be
it should be the
stamped on.
same for like movies, right? That you're going to take the likeness of like actors that are dead, and it's like we should see at the end the credits, but like also AI, so that we know.
Right. We're gonna need something because if we're not careful, life's gonna get very hectic for very a lot of people.
especially to most people online that have their faces online like you, where it'll be easier for an AI to study you and then create you.
Right. And in ways that it's not you. And
Yeah.
in ways that are not you indistinguishable. But Unreal Engine just it's gonna take us there, right? That GTA footage, interestingly enough, did you see the trailer?
Yep. I love it.
Yeah. But did you see I think it was like all of it was shot on PS5.
Yeah, it's a console only game. So it's gonna
Yeah.
force you all to buy consoles.
No, well, that aside, but it's showing you the power that can
For
be
the
harnessed
PS5.
by either a fire. I would suspect that GTA's. I would suspect. I don't know that I didn't see the actual information there, but I would suspect that this was on a PS5 Pro.
I would also suspect, if you think about it, there's an upper limit to graphics. There is. We're not there yet, but if we are we ever gonna like not upgrade graphics anymore? Because we're getting closer and closer to realism, right?
Yeah.
So there's gonna
What is
like think about
beyond?
it, big brain moment. We're here, and we ever cap what we see and feel 500 reverse rate. I don't know, like 12 million K. But if we ever hit that, is the next barrier real life? Is that when we start doing stuff?
Well, that takes me back to Hollywood, and it
Yeah.
takes me to two movies: Gamer.
And surrogate.
Haven't seen Surrogate, but it takes me to Ready Player One and Gamer, where it's like, okay, so
Which was Gamer? Is that the one with the guy that he looks like he's Russell Crowe, but he's not Russell Crowe? Gerard Butler.
Yeah, Gerard Butler. It's a Gerard Butler one, but he's like in the game.
He's a prisoner, and
Yeah.
then the guy's using him. Okay,
Yeah. So that's what I'm thinking. Like that's I think where we go in the future of gaming, where
I want to use
or you know where I truly see gaming going?
Yeah.
Westworld.
I've never seen Westworld.
You've never seen Westworld?
No. What's the premise?
So the premise is, it's an island. Allegedly, I don't even know. It's been a while. It's an island, and you're a millionaire, so you have a lot of money to go play on this island, and you jump into this game, and you interact with robots that have real skin on them.
So it's the reverse of Surrogate.
I haven't seen Surrogate. But it's a simulation, so all the robots are on a script that resets daily. Okay, but you can come in and you're a user, and you can shoot them, you can touch them, you can do whatever you want. You can kill them. You can do whatever you want to them physically, like you would another human being. But they don't react like a human being because they're on a script. But it's that hyper realism where you're not. It's not even like Avatar where you're asleep, right? But rather you step into this world and the world is simulated around you, and you just can't die. So it's an interesting concept where you are the controller.
Is it like, gosh, is Total Recall a bad movie to say it's like?
I haven't seen that one either.
That's an Arnold Schwarzenegger movie.
I know, but the reality is, we're getting a lot closer to sci-fi.
Well, I'm in. I'm not even scared of it. Let it happen, dude.
I just don't want the FBI to walk in through the door. I'm
all for it. We saw what you did.
Yeah, I'm all for it, but I think it's an interesting idea, right? Where like, can you imagine where everything that we perceive to be luxurious today, anybody can have. Because if you can think it, you can have it, and you can go into the world and be whoever you want, and be whatever you want, and do whatever you want. In these hyper realistic worlds where again you're in it, or even in an Avatar like motion, right, where you're asleep in it.
You think we're already going there with crypto being able to buy stuff now? Like for a while now, actually. It's a virtual currency.
I think we're getting pieces of it built.
The foundations are being built.
Yeah. Because this is a great segue to another topic from the Tim Sweeney interview. So Epic is creating something called Verse. It's a programming language called Verse, appropriately named Metaverse.
Verse. Even better.
Right? And so the concept here is, picture this world, Danny. You've invested how many dollars on in-game artifacts?
I can't disclose that.
I know. I'm like, it's a rhetorical question. It's a rhetorical question. But needless to say, money has been spent, right?
Oh yeah,
Money has been
money
spent.
has definitely been spent.
And so the concept behind the verse language, at least one of the vision that Tim and Epic have in their life, is what happens the moment you go play Roblox. Well, nothing, right? Because they're two separate IPs, two separate worlds, two separate everything. So if they for whatever reason had an identical, like let's just go between Fortnite and GTA, because I think GTA is going to be the best example of two hyper realistic games with very similar models. But if your TX, what is it? Your TX Raptor, right? No, TX. It's not a Raptor. Raptor's from Ford. What's
It's
TX?
Ram.
Just a Ram TX, right?
TRX? Yeah, I think it's
Yeah.
TRX.
That's right. Yeah, the TRX. There you go. T-Rex.
Hey.
Yeah, so that RAM that you have in Fortnite will, based on the verse language, be a usable asset in GTA. In a
Does that
future
mean
version of GTA.
Epic is because they have licenses for all these different stuff, right? Halo and all. It is Ready Player One. It really is.
Yeah.
So do you think in this bigger world where they can jump games, you will have Master Chief in GTA 6 if Epic can swing it?
Because it's your digital economy and all the stuff that you've invested in is with you as your persona, and you jump from game to game, because the point is that Epic's trying to make it so that these game developers can create these cross experiences using this common language and common platform, that it doesn't matter what you're playing, your assets are yours. And so you can be playing Pokemon and chasing everybody in a horde.
Master Chief chasing a Pokemon, where's the Pikachu?
Well, I mean, maybe current intellectual property might not apply, but you can imagine still the crossedness of maybe new intellectual property. But yeah, the idea would be you have an item in one game that you can now play and utilize in a different game that previously you couldn't do.
Well, that's very interesting, because I was listening to another podcast saying how us, me, you, our boomer video game generation, we're the only ones buying new games. The younger kids are stuck in Roblox and Fortnite, and they're not going to leave that economy. It's funny you say that, because they're building this thing, right? Epic is building this thing, and me and you might not get too into it because we're into like IPs being reloaded, right? Like a new Halo, a new Gears, where they're just playing Roblox and they're just playing Fortnite. But that's where all the money is. So it's like, I think Epic is going to create this verse where their kids are still in their ecosystem, but now they can just keep spending more money.
They can keep growing into the ecosystem too.
Yeah,
so
because
eventually
the are getting in there. They're not playing Halo, and they probably won't.
Yeah, and if they do it correctly, you can imagine 20 years from now, you'll have 20 years worth of assets that you've accumulated.
How much are you worth? Well, in real life or in my game?
Right. Well, and this goes back to the conversation that we had last week as well, right? Where everything that you have in life is as a perceived notion that it's status, right? But in the physical world, your status will be less important than your digital presence.
I will say, I was playing Fortnite with Junior, and I got on my TRX. He's like, wow, that's pretty sick. In the next game, he jumps in the passenger seat. He says, hey, make this vehicle your TRX, and then let me drive it. And I go, all right, for you, sure. Because the driver turns it into the car, and the next person can jump in and drive it. So I was basically letting him try out my car. It was pretty sick. That's how cool I am.
And I remember when you let him drive your Challenger.
Yeah. Oh, man. I like letting people try my stuff.
But again, it's still just it's an interesting feature, one that I'm very excited for, one that we got to figure out how to monetize into. Because this is cutting edge, right? Like nobody else is doing this. So imagine create, like if you're a new indie developer, right? Like why wouldn't you create on the Unreal platform?
Well, there is that creator code on Epic for every, I don't know what the percentage is, but when I make a purchase, if I use someone else's code, they get money. And if me and you make a game, like The Pit, you played The Pit. That's one of the most played custom games made by somebody in Fortnite, that every time someone jumps into it, they get a percentage of money. So that person's rich after creating the pit. He really is. He gets thousands, like at least $25,000 a month, because someone else created the pit again, and then that's when Epic. It was a while ago. They're like, all right, we need to find a way to copyright for people, so you cannot steal other people's creations, which people learn how to do really quickly. But that's the original pit that you played, and it will only now no one else can name theirs the pit.
Nice. Yeah, so that also opens up new rules for litigations, rules, right? Our governments aren't designed for this.
No,
How do
too
you
old.
enforce?
They're
How
like
do
80
you?
years old.
Well, not only that, but I mean, especially when you have members of the United States government asking Mark Zuckerberg what is Wi-Fi.
Or the TikTok one. That was funny.
Yeah, the TikTok.
Is
Like,
this
I'm
is
Singaporean.
it looking at me? He's like, not unless he turned the camera on.
No, the Mark Zuckerberg one was like, does your application access my home network? He's like, well, it kind of has to get on the internet.
Kind of how it does it.
He's like, that's how the internet works.
Yeah.
But I'm very scared, right? So when I was in college, I took a class that was titled "Government, Not Engineering, Controls the Future," right?
Hmm.
And so you can have the best engineers in the world, but the government dictates how far technology can get.
Is
Now-
ours limiting ours as we speak?
Well, I would say no. I would say within the United States, there's not a whole lot of, other than the ESRB ratings, the government doesn't really have a whole lot of say in what happens. There's been GTA over the last 20 years has been a topic of controversy.
Mortal Kombat as well, right?
Yeah, there was a little bit of Mortal Kombat. There was a Dave Mirra's BMX where you can ride the girls topless. Back in the day, there was a Dead or Alive topless, like beach edition that had like a topless cheat code. Grand Theft Auto had the no coffee or something scene. I don't know if you
It
remember
doesn't
that.
matter anymore. Just go to Steam, and it's called Hentai, and it's a whole section of games like that.
Yeah, but back then it was revolutionary. Like back then it was
The little kid brain. What's
Yeah,
happening?
it was crazy to think that those things that somebody pushed that boundary. Nowadays it's almost expected. Heck, nowadays you're kind of sad if it doesn't have it.
Yeah, well, that's what they're talking about. GTA 6 being equally sexy for both genders. You got the girl, and then the guy was pretty hot too. If you look at him, he's like, "Geez, that guy's ripped."
Yeah, no, it's they're balancing the scales there, but again, it's how much of it is in our government, how much of it is in religion as well, right? Like I remember growing up, Pokemon was a devil.
Yeah.
And GTA, man, forget about it. You mentioned at church that you were playing GTA, you were bad.
What about Doom?
But think about it, like think about when you go to church, like churches will have to embrace this because then a future generation will expect to go to church fully in the simulated environment.
So the church in the game.
Church in the game, government in the game, jury duty in the game.
Yeah, I'll do
Because
that.
this is where that blockchain technology comes into place, right? Because blockchain is the unique identifier of unbreakable unique identifier of who you are. So in a digital world, you can, without a shadow of a doubt, 1000% guarantee that that individual is that individual. So that opens up a new era where while we can be faked in the real world, faking it in the digital world will become almost impossible due to our blockchain technologies.
And then with the implant we're going to get soon.
So again, the mix of all of it, right? Like what happens when you sleep and you're in like gamer? What happens to our bodies physically? This is why I think something like like Westworld is most ideal, because I'd rather physically teleport to a world that I can't die in and do things that I shouldn't be able to do as a human.
Kind of like Surrogate. When he sleeps, his human body is dying. So that's why it's called Surrogate. They go in a capsule. And I don't know if they wake up in a human body or a robot body, but they're in a new body. And like an old man is young again. And then they're living their life through the surrogate. That's why it's called that. It's pretty interesting.
Yeah, so except I'm proposing that you're doing it while you're awake.
Oh, kind of like Sword Art Online.
Kind of like those VR places that you can find at the mall where you put the headset on and the full body suit and you feel the hits.
Have you ever played VR chat?
Mm.
So I played that. And I remember I was walking, because you got to, like, back then, I don't know if they fix it now, you had to flick to watch.
Yeah, I remember the flicking. There was a lot of flicking in
But this game did it pretty well. But it came to the point where in VR chat you're talking to people, and when I took it off, you can put your hand through the wall in the game, and I was like, "This is this real?" I was like, I'm good.
Well, it goes back to Inception. It goes back to the Inception movie. Did you see that one yet? We talked about it, right?
Yeah.
So in Inception, they go so far deep into the dreams that they forget which level or layer is the reality. So that's why he had that thing that if it fell,
did it fall at the end or did it not?
I don't know. They left us in that cliffhanger, right? But at some point, we all might need a device like that to remind us that we're still human and still in the real world versus not.
Yeah, I can see that. Next 100 years for sure.
But think about now. Let's bring this back to gaming over the last 30 years. Gaming has been an escape, right? It has served a vessel to escape the real world and live in a world where you can be whatever you want to be. And it's done that well since the 80s.
Yeah, Pong.
But I'm very excited for a future where you and I can physically be in the same place together and high five each other and feel the high five.
Yeah, I think it'll happen. I think first it'll be they got to find a way to bring our thoughts into it, and then the feeling and all that will come afterwards. But they'll do it in steps for sure.
I just think we got to figure out a way to recreate Westworld.
That'd be sick. But where would you put all that?
Well, I mean, just the fact that you can get shot and not die.
Yeah.
Right.
I could have it now. It'll be risky, but you could get shot and not die.
No, but I'm saying like, play Halo, like put on a suit.
Oh yeah, that'd be sick.
And like live through it. Because I don't know if you watched the show, the Halo show.
I saw it. Season 1 only.
Yeah, I still have only seen season 1.
I think Netflix is buying it.
Are they?
I think I heard Netflix or one of the other big ones are buying it off of Paramount, so they're going to continue it.
Yeah, I enjoyed season 1. I haven't seen season 2, but I wish my only criticism for the Halo show, at least season 1, is that I wish they would have done more POV or POC,
like in the beginning.
Yeah, like in the beginning, because that I thought that would have got me excited for the show, where you saw the world through the lens of the Master Chief. But then they said that apparently we already saw the lens of the Master Chief to the game. I'm like, I don't think you understood why we like the game then.
Like, I don't really care about the Master Chief too much. I want to be him.
Right. So I think they missed the opportunity there in the show. But still, being able to put on a helmet or whatever and be Thor, be Captain America, be whoever you want, be able to jump, be able to like these virtual obstacle courses, but it's actually you. I don't know. We'll see. But because like NVIDIA already talks about this concept of a digital twin, right? Where you can replicate your life in digitally, and you have a 3-dimensional rendering of the something physical. Now they just got to figure out how to put you in that thing, and Bob's your uncle.
They'll probably do it. I know they're gonna do it.
Yeah.
But how about the simulations where you go to a warehouse and you're wearing a VR headset? It's an empty warehouse, but in the headset you see zombies coming at you. Have you seen that?
Yeah, well, that's kind of what I was talking about, like at the malls and stuff.
Yeah. I want to try that.
Yeah, that's the ultimate form, but you still need the headset on. So we gotta still figure out how to live. Like Ready Player One, it feels like the closest version of this, but it's unrealistic given current technology. Did you see Disney made their OmniMat?
No, what's that? Like
Disney
the floor where they can move?
No, Disney has like a mat that you put on the floor, and it's got rollers, like little balls, and they roll in opposite of the energy that you put, the force that you put on it.
So it's kind of like the thing he had in the game where he was like running sideways.
Yeah, so you can walk, you can stop, and you can do whatever you want, and you can just move in place without actually moving.
Can you run?
Yeah.
Or is it suspended for running?
No, you can do whatever you want.
That's kind of cool. See, I think it's coming. All the pieces are being built, but they got to come together.
Yeah, that's the tricky part, because as humans,
we
We don't
want
like to
all
play
these
well.
farms.
We don't like to we don't like to play well with each other.
That's why I like the open AI concept.
Well, that's why. So this is Tim Sweeney. So you gotta know how much. I I think you gotta respect Tim and what he's doing with Epic because Tim is an OG developer. Like he wrote
Gears of War, man.
Unreal. He what?
He did Gears of War, didn't he?
Yeah, but they hand coded that stuff, man. That engine, they did it. There was no Chat GPT when they made it. There was no Google when they made it.
That's true.
He figured it out. Like he's a genuine engineer that figures something out of nothing.
Now
Right?
he's got tools to go even further.
Now he's got tools to go even further. Now he's got billions of dollars to fund a team to go even further, which is why again that verse language is so important. But Tim is very pro user. He grew up in the 70s and 80s with the original computing power that used to exist back then. So he's a very appreciative of where we are today from a technology perspective, but he's also very reminiscent of where we were from a computing perspective in the 70s and 80s.
He wants it to go back like that, or what?
He doesn't like that Apple takes 30% of the cut. This is why they've been in a legal battle with Apple for the last 2-3 years, right?
Yeah.
Because it creates an environment that is not conducive for freedom, for open communication, for just will. You have to abide by somebody's rules. Now, my 2 cents, the world needs rules. Without it, it's anarchy.
True.
If somebody didn't exist to tell you what you can or can't do, the world would die.
What do you think about Epic Games after winning their lawsuit with Apple? They pushed up the reward system for spending money in Epic. So now you get 20% return for all purchases.
Well, so Tim's smart on this one, right? You need to create an environment in which somebody wants to come in and create. And Apple did this the best, right? So in 2007, you know how many apps ship with the iPhone?
Like 2.
You know who made those apps?
Steve Jobs.
Well, Apple, right? And so the concept of the App Store didn't exist until 2008, one whole year later.
And they opened it up a little bit.
They opened it up a little bit, but they created this App Store. But the point still is because the App Store existed,
Yeah.
and there was nothing like it at the time, then developers went and then created. Holy moly. They went and created, and because they were able to create this economy, and because of this economy, it grew. It feeds itself, right? People went to Apple because of the apps that you could get, and
Yeah.
people bought the apps because there was people to buy, and so you need the balance of both. So Epic has to do that very carefully and very well to encourage this creator economy that Tim's investing heavily in.
Yeah, because people are saying that the Epic store is not the best. You know.
And that comes up in the interview. So they talk about some of the criticisms and stuff. And he's like, we're working on it. We acknowledge that we're not perfect. And it probably will never be perfect because you can't ever please everybody. But I think Tim's got his right mindset of where he sees that future of that economy going. And it's not one he wants to get rid of. He's one that he wants to nurture.
I can see that. Yeah, he's going to keep putting his eggs in this basket and keep working on it.
Yeah, which then begs the question, how long is it before every game is built using Unreal Engine?
So Halo jumped on Unreal Engine, which is huge. And then Halo and Gears have been announced on both PlayStation now. So PlayStation is going to get Gears and Halo and all Microsoft first-party games.
So it's interesting you bring that up because I was reading an article this weekend that basically said developers don't care for Microsoft anymore.
Nah, I think Xbox has been with their Game Pass system. I can see developers not making a lot of money. I don't know how much they get paid to put it on the Game Pass system, but almost all the games go straight onto the Game Pass for all the new games. So it's like, okay. I don't know how much money they're losing.
What's an interesting question? So let's see if we can do some mathematics on the show because I'm an engineer.
Yeah.
Game Pass costs.
So they what, $14?
Game Pass. Well, they have a lot of versions now. They have a $10 version, a $12 version, $15 version. So Game Pass Ultimate is $20.
It's a lot of money.
It's as cheap as
Netflix.
$10.
Huh?
It's as cheap as $10, but $20 gets you everything.
On both Windows and Xbox, I'm assuming.
It's allergy season, man. I'm dying. Okay, so $20. Now, how many users for Game Pass? Right. So how many people does Microsoft have? So they have 34 million subscribers.
Yeah.
Times $20. That's 600 and 34. 3 times 20. 3. So yeah, 680 million a month. All right.
It's not much.
A month, $680 million a month. What is a fair price to pay a developer then for their game?
Well, the game's going up to $80, so let's use that as our standard.
Okay.
Shipping costs. Well, do you even have shipping costs anymore?
You don't have shipping costs anymore. It's still $80. So assume Physical World is dead. Your margins on that. I mean, you got marketing.
Yeah.
But how much most people don't spend, you're not spending 50% of your budget on marketing. So assume like a 10% on marketing. That still leaves you with 90%. Microsoft, let's assume, takes a 10, 50. Let's just be conservative. 10% cut from Microsoft because they provide the platform. So you're down to 70, that's $60. What else do we got? I mean, we obviously have the development and all the overhead and stuff, right? But let's just say it costs $20 to make the game. So I still leaves the company with $60, $40
per game.
Per game. Now, what's the average number of copies a video game sells? And we're doing some very, very, very non-factual mathematics here.
Yeah.
Right. None at all.
We're doing girl math.
So let's go with let's just do GTA 5. GTA 5 sold 210 million copies
on like 5 different platforms in 3 different generations. Because they kept rebooting it every time a new generation came out.
I know, right? But then GTA 5 didn't cost 80, it costed 60. So let's just say that they were making $20 a game profit.
Yeah. What is that?
Well, 20 times 210 million is $420 million. But that's over the lifetime. I don't know that we're gonna be able to do the math here. I'm not very good at public math, but I don't think the numbers are there, right? Because if they made 210 times, so they made 1, 2, 3, they made 4.2, at least $4 billion off of that. Game Pass, even though it's pulling in $680 million, you're dividing that against the entire library. So you're probably getting like $1 per month.
Per game.
Well, no, I mean, but per user. Maybe.
I don't know. It just doesn't seem like you're gonna make a lot of money on Game Pass. I don't understand how they make it work.
I don't either, then too, because the biggest thing about Game Pass is you got to pay for the servers to run.
Yeah, and in Game Pass, a lot of the games come off the servers after a couple months, don't they? Don't they cycle them in and out?
Yeah. So I think to do the math better.
Yeah.
What they say is Microsoft says, okay, we make $680 million a month, right?
How do we distribute that per game?
Yeah, no, not like basically, right? So they'll tell a publisher, if you put your game on it, we'll give you $20 million for like the year.
Oh.
Get it?
They'll make that back in 2
Right.
months.
Right. Because the ultimate juggernaut here is Microsoft.
Yeah.
It makes sense from Microsoft.
Yeah. Because they hold the power to put the games on there or not, or even to sell them.
Yeah. So I'm pretty sure that's how they do it. I'm pretty sure they offer like $50 million for a year or 2-year deal to have that game available on Game Pass. Because at the same time, nobody would buy Game Pass if the games they want to play weren't on there.
Yeah, and then they did have the first party games there for sure, but those first party games kind of suck now. So it's like they needed third party developers. They need Call of Duty on there, but they bought Call of Duty, so now it's a first party game.
So Microsoft. So let's talk about that then for a second, because Microsoft did an interesting move that I think screwed them over more. And I don't know who made that call at Microsoft because it was a dumb move.
Which one?
Buying Activision.
Yeah, I don't know. I guess they wanted a piece of that Call of Duty.
But think about it, right? Like they bought Activision for whatever $50 billion or whatever it was, right? But in as part of the terms of the agreement to purchase Activision, the key part of the contract said that the exclusivity would never be there for Call of Duty.
It has to be all platforms, yeah.
Right. But it also exposed Microsoft to have to be basically compelled. Microsoft basically promised, because the judge blocked it, right? The judge is like, we can't trust you to keep that promise. And they're like, well, we bought Minecraft and Minecraft's available on every console.
Yeah.
Right. Sure. And then we bought this and we bought that. And then look what we're doing with Game Pass. And so Microsoft basically had to prove to the judge that they were going to be open, that they were going to basically eliminate exclusivities to get the Activision rule approved. And so they proved it enough that they got it approved. And now we have this problem. But nobody but now you've lost exclusivity. And people bought consoles for exclusivity.
There's no such thing as a console war any longer. You're going to get a PlayStation because it has Gears of War, it has Halo, it has all that now. Why would you get an Xbox who's always been kind of inferior to PlayStation?
Well, I mean,
graphically.
Yeah.
And you're going to get Gears, if you're going to get GTA 6, or you're going to get a PlayStation, or you're going to get an Xbox. If every single other game is going to go to PlayStation, and PlayStation has better graphics.
When you compare it like that, and they're the same price point.
Yeah, they're both 700 or whatever now.
Well, I mean, PlayStation's still 500.
Well, not in Australia. They already raised it, so they're going to raise it here soon. Xbox already raised theirs here.
Yeah, but they also have PlayStation. So the other thing is PlayStation's got PlayStation Pro, and that in itself is a game changer.
Yeah, you got Game Pass, which is going to go everywhere. Apparently, they say.
So yeah, so basically, I would predict.
I think Xbox is going to get rid of their consoles. No, they're talking about a handheld now. Have you heard of that?
That would be interesting, right? So they need a low-powered Nintendo Switch that can power, because all the cloud compute, all the gaming computing, all the graphics computing is done on the server. Mm-hmm. So you can get something that's super cheap because it's easier to manufacture, because you'll just need a strong internet connection.
They're working with Asus.
But that would be something that I wouldn't mind. I don't like handhelds, but Nintendo would be in trouble if Microsoft were to pull out a handheld.
In a way, but Nintendo still has exclusivity. If you want to play Pokemon, you're not going to play an Xbox One. It's going to be Nintendo.
They have exclusivity, but an exclusivity that is dying like Disney's dying.
Whoa. You take that back. New Pokemon was announced today. Pokemon Tides and Air or something like that. I'm like, oh, I'm in.
That's awesome for us. My kid has never played Pokemon before.
I'm telling you, going back to that, they won't leave Fortnite and Roblox. But Fortnite's on Nintendo. And so is Roblox, I believe. Why wouldn't your kid want to take, I guess they can do it on their phone, but a dedicated game.
But check this out though. Check this out. So here's the argument. This is why they would leave Nintendo. When you have a device, when you have a mobile device, power is everything. Have you ever heard of the infamous story of of the Game Boy, the original Game Boy?
No, the Tetris.
No, well, before even that, like when the development of the Game Boy was being done, the big question was, why is it only black and white? Why not color?
What did he say?
Because color needed 4 batteries and black and white needed 2,
You talking
right?
about battery life then of this?
That
Nintendo
sucker
Switch?
ate batteries like it was candy back in the day, right? So Nintendo made a conscious decision to favor longer gameplay in lieu of
Color.
better graphics, right? So on that similar note, imagine if Microsoft comes out with the ultimate mobile console that's like $200,
Can stream to
drastic,
your TV, can stream
yeah,
to your console.
yeah, drastically undercuts the Switch price by $300.
But would they undercut it? They just raise the prices of Xboxes.
Yeah, but forget the Xboxes. Imagine a console because look, okay, you're still missing the point, Danny. An Xbox Series X has a freaking advanced GPU in there that they sell at a loss. Microsoft won't have to do this. You're gonna pay for an LCD, an OLED, right? You're gonna pay for some controller part aspect of it, and the cheapest CPU you can buy, and the cheapest GPU you can buy. A Raspberry Pi can probably run it. You just need to be able to connect to the internet. You put that thing with a 12-hour battery life, $200, all day gaming,
Yeah.
and you can stream AAA titles. Nintendo won't even have any, like, Nintendo won't even know what hit them.
Or capitalism, and Nintendo will finally start moving because they have a competitor in their pond now.
No,
Right?
because no,
They took out the PSP. The PSP died. So did the PlayStation Vita, and PlayStation's PlayStation. They were on their high, dude. They were winning.
But again, I think you're missing the point though, because these were all eras where on-device performance mattered.
Yeah.
I'm saying device performance will not matter in the direction that Microsoft's going because all computing is happening in a multi-billion-dollar data center that's doing all the processing for you. You just need some screen and an input, and you could get away with $50. It'll cost them less than $50 to make it.
And you think it'll come out relatively soon?
Well, it is. We're entering June, and June is when they make consoles. I don't know. I think it's too disruptive, and I don't know. I think the biggest problem is the stream of the game. It has to be flawless.
Yeah, or else they won't buy it.
That's probably what's holding them up. They still probably have a lot of drop packets.
Well, isn't that what Google did with their thing that they made?
Or Stadia or whatever.
Yeah, I think died because of that, didn't it?
Yeah.
Didn't run games very well. But same idea, right?
Except that wasn't mobile, was it?
No, it was just streaming to a console.
Yeah. Oh, Stadia. Good idea. Wow, January 18, 2023. It's been a minute.
Yeah. Remember that? So, I don't know. I think if the internet can get a little bit better, and we all are achieving higher speeds than ever before, maybe.
But the thing is, so with the right compression algorithms, you won't even need higher speeds. You just need better compression to send it through, which is now the whole premise of Silicon Valley, the show.
They're still making episodes for that?
No, they stopped that a while ago. But the whole premise would be if you can get an entire, like, imagine if, like, I think game manufacturers have to do this though. There's, I mean, predictions. How many gigabytes do you think GTA 6 is going to be?
300.
But think about that for a second. You're going to buy a PlayStation 5 and you're going to be able to install you might as well just bundle GTA 6 with the PlayStation and call it.
Yeah. Because that's all, I would buy a PlayStation just for GTA 6.
Yeah, but
maybe
the point
is, on it.
But you won't be able to put any other games in it.
That's true.
That hard drive is used up by GTA 6.
Well, the hard drives are getting bigger. They're coming out like 2 terabytes and stuff like that now.
Okay, so you can put 3 games on it.
Call of Duty, which is always 120-ish now, because they have all the Call of Duties in one now for some reason. They're doing it bad. They're trying to create an ecosystem, but it's like, just let me buy my one game and not have to download all 5 of them. They're huge.
Yeah, dude. Gaming though, oh my gosh. I try to play Fortnite. What day did I call
We
you? Like
played with
Thursday?
them on Saturday, man. We played for 4 hours, and we're like, having so much fun.
But
I'm
what
like,
what day did I call you? Was it Thursday night? Wednesday night?
I think it was a Wednesday or Thursday.
Wednesday or Thursday? I'm like, you know what? Let's play some Fortnite. I sit down to my Xbox. Problem number one: log in with your password.
Easy. Oh no, Epic Games makes it a little complicated, but I think I like that because my stuff is secured.
I haven't logged into my Xbox since last year, so I don't remember my password and all that stuff
You playing on the X or what? Series X?
on the Series X.
Gotcha.
So I follow the on-screen thing. I have the two-factor authentication on my phone. I do the whole thing. A few minutes
White
later,
Tiger is online.
I'm in, and now it's asking me for the pin.
What pin? From your
There's a
phone?
pin. What? No, there's a pin that I like. You have to hit a series of combinations on the
You
controller.
did that? Hey, what are you? Who are you holding your Xbox from? Your kids?
I don't even know, dude. I set that thing up
I
5
never
years
see
ago.
that thing out.
Then it's like a 5-year thing that I set up, and I was like, okay, I haven't used my Xbox in a year. Let's hope that we don't break this thing. Okay. 15 minutes later,
Yeah.
I am in.
Now you got to download Fortnite.
No, after scanning QR codes and entering passwords and face IDs and all this crap.
Now you got to do for
in,
Epic.
then I get into Fortnite and I start the download.
It's huge.
Turns out I have 2 profiles on my Xbox, and that profile that I just spent 15 minutes on is not the one that originated the purchase.
Oh, I forgot about that. Yeah.
So now I gotta log out.
Why don't you have your Xbox set as your family console so that all accounts can play it?
All accounts can play, but to do to go through the store to do the update, and it can only be the originator.
I guess.
So now I have to log out and log into the other account, and guess what I have to now do for another 15 minutes?
You forgot the password.
Yes. So I'm 30 minutes deep just into trying to get the update to start. And then I gotta go wait an hour for the update to actually execute because it's been a year since
Jeez, dude.
So 1 hour and a half later.
Yeah. Every Tuesday, Fortnite gets an update, by the way. I hope you know that.
Okay, but still, 1.5 hours later.
Yeah.
I sit down to finally start Fortnite. And then I'm greeted with, how the hell do I even play this game?
Oh, yeah. And you're like, let me call the expert.
Yeah.
Get out of that lobby.
But,
back out.
But the heat of the moment, the gone are the days where you have this, this feeling of wanting to play Mario and popping it in and playing Mario.
Well, now you can pop in and play Fortnite. I bet you turn on right now. You're already signed. Oh, by the way, have it so your Xbox, when you turn on your controller, your account is linked to that specific controller, so it just goes in. It's so much easier. You can do that. Every controller is a profile.
I turned everything off, by the way.
Gosh. Dude,
there's no more security.
I don't think you would have had fun playing on PlayStation 3. I don't know if it has enough power for the new engine.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I was thinking about it too, but then my mom wouldn't go to Costco.
Yeah, because Junior was saying there was no way because we were playing it, and Junior's like, "Wow, Danny, like, I like the graphics." I'm like, "Why?" He's like, "Because I'm looking at all these fireflies, and there's like we're in a little meadow, we're like looking for bad guys, little fireflies flickering on our screen." I'm like, "Yeah, it's really beautiful, huh?" Because yeah, and then a laser hits at me. Like he's like, help me, I'm getting shot." but I was thinking, if you were there at that moment, I don't think a PlayStation 3 would capture all the fireflies. I don't think it's powerful enough for that. I think they'll have particles down. You know what I mean?
But you're missing the bigger point, Danny. It should not take almost 2 hours to play your game.
Bro, you don't play. If you didn't have to do all sign-in stuff, you cut an hour out, or at least 30 minutes.
It shouldn't be that.
And you need system updates, so updates by itself. You could do that. You set that up so that every Monday your Xbox goes into a store and updates by itself automatically. I had that set up on my not Series X, the Xbox One X. So I know the Series X has that. You gotta be more of a gamer, man.
Well,
You're get the dust off my Xbox Series X. Man, it's taking forever to play a game. Well, no shit, you haven't plugged it in.
yeah, but I can go right now and plug in my Super Nintendo, and I'm gaming in 60
I
seconds.
bet you go over to your Xbox and sign in on the correct account. I bet you can play in 5 minutes.
Which
did all
one?
that work.
The 360?
No. In Series X, you already did all the work. It's ready to go. Unless you deleted the game. There's some weirdos that do that afterwards. You did not delete the game, did you?
No, but it did get me thinking because I only have like 100 gigabytes left on that Xbox. I'm like, well, this is like another update for Fortnite, and we're done.
No, it doesn't add gigabytes. It'll refresh it, and then every season it'll delete and bring in new ones.
Right, quote unquote delete.
Yeah, something like that. But you should play with us. I think it'll be cool to record it. We're having a blast, especially with Tony. Dude, get this. We were running away. No, Junior's like, oh look, Danny, there's an X-wing. I'm like, oh, let's go get it. And Tony's like, all right. So me and Tony in the car. Junior's running towards the X-wing. And then out of nowhere, the X-wing lifts off. Another player got into it, and it starts shooting at Junior, taking out trees. And this guy's running at me and Tony. I do a U-turn in my car. I'm like, Junior, get in. And then like everything's blowing up around us. It was like, dang, you got to catch this moment.
But the map still shrinks on you, right?
Yeah, but it's not like fast enough that it won't have.
But why can't you just have the game where you can just play without all that shrinking crap?
Because then the game is set in battle royale. If it didn't shrink, there can be a player that just hides in a bush, and like you'll never find them because they won't force him to come out. It needs to shrink because at the last point, it's like so small that you can see everybody. There's no one hiding.
Now, what about who? If you three are playing, who declares the winner?
Us three. We all three win.
How?
We go into
because you choose to not kill each other?
No. And if you join us, it's called squads. So teams of 4 are going in. So if our team wins, like let's say me, you, Tony die, and Junior somehow gets to win, all 4 of us would be resurrected right there, and we're all the winners. We won. Our squad won.
I don't know, man. I think I'd like to play Fortnite, but like in horde mode, like back in Gears of War.
There is horde modes on the custom games. People have made it so that there's like zombies because it was a zombie game initially, right? So they have the zombie models still, and they made it so that the zombies come out, and you just gotta like the storm's still there though. Like the storm is gonna move, so you have to keep forcing yourself to different areas, so you can't be bunkered down forever. So I don't know. You gotta play Fortnite, man. I gotta show you all these things.
I just don't like.
Huh?
I don't like the no respawn. Like
well, if you have a good teammate, I'll get you back. Because like Tony died and Junior died, and I'm like, get my card. Which if you die, you leave your card floating where you died, and if I run and grab it, press X, I can bring you guys back. But Fortnite just found a new update where if your card is like in the storm and I can never get it again, I can go to the reboot van and just buy it, like using gold. And I'll bring you guys back for 500 gold, and then you guys will respawn. So like no matter what, there's always going to be a way to bring you back.
Oh, Fortnite just figuring out new ways to make money.
What did you think about the character skins? I know you didn't have any, probably.
I don't know. So I was never like, even when the Xbox 360 introduced avatars, like I used to remember have the mustache on my guy, but
Oh yeah, I remember your guy. I can picture him right now.
I just never been into avatar customization. I could care less what I look like there.
Yeah. Well, in Fortnite, you can be Darth Vader. Well, I don't even know who your favorite character is. You can be Master Chief. You can be God of War. What's his name? Kratos. You can be anything.
As long as it's intellectually property allowed.
Yeah. Well, yeah. Like Spider-Man, you can't be him anymore for the comics. Spider-Man, the animated series, remember that one?
Yeah.
Because he was a Battle Pass exclusive before they got rid of exclusivity. So I can be Spider-Man with the black suit on. It's so sick. And Junior's so mad.
I'm gonna keep trying to give it a go.
You gotta set a date up with us. You have to play with players, or else you're not gonna have fun. Because you're gonna suck.
The dexterity in my fingers is just not what it used to be, man. Enjoy gaming while you can.
I'm only 6 years younger than you.
things start going south on you real quick.
I'm
man.
looking at Junior then, because he'll catch you. He'll catch you first. I want to look at his fingers. How you doing? Taking your collagen?
I'm telling you, I'm just gonna wait till we have Westworld level gaming. I'm just gonna jump into the game.
Bro, you're gonna be like, oh, I can't. My whole body. Just wait till you get to my age. You're like 65. I mean,
Can you
59.
imagine, like, you get injured like Batman? There's that scene where his doctor, the butler, is asking him like all these bruises and broken. Oh no, it was the doctor.
Oh, is it after the house came on him?
Yeah,
The house came down and hit him in the back.
yeah, and then he goes to the doctor and they're like looking at all the bruises and all the beats and the broken knees and everything.
All these push-ups or something like that.
Yeah, I'll be a vigilante. I don't know. I think to close this up, because I do need to go to a meeting here. I don't think we're quite yet in a simulation.
But it's building.
I think the simulations are coming. I'm excited for them because I'd rather go and play Fortnite physically with you in a simulated environment where I feel like I'm with you.
Side tangent, really quick, 2 seconds. We're all going to end up like Wally. That'll be us if the simulations came out.
Not the
rubber chair, super fat because we don't move anymore.
Okay, yeah, I was going to say the people on the chairs, right?
Yeah. I have my exercise online.
I'm fit. I'm like a 20-year-old online. Well, I mean, I think that's going to open up a whole new. I think the simulation will open up a new can of worms where
we need IV drips. And
yeah. So what happens to our human bodies? And then second or third or fourth or whatever number we're on, have you seen Uploaded?
I heard of it, but I never seen it.
So it's an Amazon show, right? And it's basically when you die, if you have.
Oh yeah, they upload the consciousness. Yeah.
Yeah. So what happens when life is a simulation and you just forever live in a game?
That sounds like it better be a good game, or at least keep the servers up.
No, but seriously, like imagine an infinite game.
You ever watch the TV series Red vs. Blue from Rooster Teeth?
Yeah.
Do you remember what that whole thing was?
Vaguely, it was like 2001.
The whole simulation. Remember, I don't know, spoilers, but it's like 20 years old now. When Tex dies, and then he goes into the AI unit, and he's back in the Blood Gulch. And then he finds Tex, and like the whole thing's going over again. And he goes, well, if I have to live in a simulation, at least I get you guys to do it with. And all his friends are there because the AI unit remembered everything that happened. So he's going to keep replaying that in a time loop forever and always until Texas dies again.
So to close the bow, when you ask me, what are you afraid of?
Yeah.
Why does the simulation scare you? It's going to be an interesting future.
Yeah, you better have some friends in a simulation if you're stuck in it forever. Or it's gonna be like Jim Carrey in his movie where everyone's all scripted because they're all AI units. What movie was that? That was the Truman Show.
Truman Show, yeah.
Where they're all gonna be AI robots and that'll be your friends. None of them will be real.
Or the whole thing just goes to Terminator.
Well, that'd be scary because I don't want to die like that.
Who knows? But anyways, future looks bright here, and I'm excited. I think if you aren't invested in Epic, I'd probably be looking at some Epic stock.
Future looks bright. A nuke.
And yeah, all right. Well, like I said, I got to run to a call. So if you haven't already, please make sure you subscribe to the channel, drop a like, share this with everybody you know. And Danny, we'll see you next week.
See you next week. That was fun. That was good.